You are 9 years old and the electric bill is on the kitchen counter. It has been there for 11 days. You have noticed it every morning. You have learned not to mention it. Your mother moves through the apartment like someone who has already calculated every option and found none of them good enough. She doesn't talk about money. She doesn't have to. Money talks in other ways. It talks through the shoes you wear to school, through the birthday party you say you don't want, through the way your stomach learns the difference between hungry and this is just how evenings feel. You're 9 years old. You already know that some things are not for you. The light in the kitchen flickers. You look up. Your mother doesn't. She has already accepted it. You file that away somewhere. Not as a lesson. Not yet. Just as a fact. The world is divided into people who look up when the light flickers and people who have learned not to. You're not sure yet which one you want to be. The paycheck clears on Friday. By Saturday, it is already spoken for rent, utilities, the minimum payment on the card, the other minimum payment, the grocery run where you put 2 things back at the register and pretend you changed your mind. You work 40 hours, sometimes 45. You're not building anything. You're maintaining something. There is a difference. You feel it in your body by Wednesday. Your co-workers talk about the weekend. You calculate what the weekend costs. You divide it differently from them. A savings account exists. It has $214 in it. You have had $214 in it for 4 months because every time it gets to $300, something happens, the car, the tooth, the thing you did not budget for because you could not afford to think that far ahead. Financial advisors say to save 3 to 6 months of expenses. You smile when you hear this, not because it is funny, because the alternative is crying and crying doesn't clock out. At level 2, survival is a full-time job. It doesn't pay overtime. Something shifts. It is not dramatic. There is no moment. There is just a Tuesday in October where you pay the bill when it arrives and don't think about it again. You eat at a restaurant, not a special occasion, just hunger and the ability to resolve it without math. You have $8,000 in savings. This is the most money you have ever had. It doesn't feel like wealth. It feels like a held breath, like something you are afraid to look directly at in case it disappears. You call your mother. You don't tell her the number. You just say things are okay. She says good. She says it the way people say it when they have been waiting a long time to hear it. At level 3, you begin to understand what stability actually means. It doesn't mean you have more. It means you have stopped bracing. The tension you have carried since the electric bill on the counter, you did not know you were still carrying it. You notice it leaving, slowly, like a season changing. You buy something you don't need. It costs $40. You feel guilty about it for a week. That guilt is the last thing poverty leaves in you, long after everything else is gone. The money starts to move differently. You have enough now that money can work while you sleep. This is a concept you understand intellectually before you understand it in your body. The first time your investment account goes up $300 in a week without you doing anything, you stare at it for a long time. You made $300 in 1 week at your first job. It took 40 hours. You don't celebrate. You get quiet. You start reading things, listening to things. You meet people who talk about money the way your mother never could, casually, openly, like it is a tool and not a wound. You take notes, you ask questions, you feel sometimes like you are learning a language everyone else was born speaking, but you are learning it. The compound interest table is not exciting when you first see it. It becomes exciting slowly, like a joke you understand 2 days after you heard it. At level 4, you're not yet wealthy, but you are building in the direction of it. And for the first time in your life, the direction of travel matters more than where you currently stand. You start thinking in decades instead of Fridays. This is everything. The house is not large, but it is yours. Not yours the way a rental is yours, provisionally, conditionally, subject to somebody else's decision. Yours in the way that nothing can remove you from it unless you choose to leave. You stand in the kitchen on a Saturday morning. Coffee, quiet, the light is good, you notice the light. You have a financial advisor now. You meet twice a year, you look at numbers together, and he says words like allocation and rebalancing, and you understand enough to nod at the right times and ask the right questions. You're not fully fluent yet, but you're no longer afraid of the vocabulary. Your net worth is somewhere around $400,000. This is a number that would have been abstract to you at 22, meaningless, like being told the distance to a star. Now it is real, and it is not enough. Not because you are greedy, because you understand now how far you have come and how far the top still is. And something in you, that same thing that watched the light flicker and filed it away, that part of you is not finished. You don't talk about money at dinner parties. You have noticed that the people with real money never do. You are learning. You're no longer paid for your time. This is a sentence worth sitting with. Your income arrives from things you own. Properties, equity, positions in companies you will never walk into. The money compounds quietly in the background like a river that has found its gradient. You employ people, not many, but some. You have noticed what it feels like to hold someone's livelihood in a decision you make on a Wednesday afternoon. You take this seriously. Not all people at your level do. You fly differently now, not because you planned to, because one day you were offered an upgrade and said yes, and then the next time you booked the seat before they asked. You didn't notice the transition, you only notice it looking back. Your children have a different childhood than you did. You have felt many things about this. Pride is one of them, grief is another. The grief is harder to explain. They will never know the electric bill on the counter. You are glad. You also understand quietly that something is lost in not knowing it. You don't say this to anyone. You donate money now, more than you expected to, not for the recognition. Because you understand at this level that the system that allowed you to climb is not available to everyone. You knew this at 9. You know it differently at 49. The difference is now you can do something about it. The office has no windows. This is deliberate. You chose it. Windows meant distractions. This room is for thinking. Your name is on buildings. Your name is on things you don't remember creating. You have arrived somewhere that most people cannot locate on a map, because most people do not know that a map exists. The number that represents your net worth is large enough that it no longer feels like a number. It feels like a system. It is a system. It has its own lawyers, its own managers, its own logic. It requires maintenance the way a city requires maintenance. You are not rich, you are an infrastructure. People ask you for things, constantly. They come to you with their dreams and they hold them out, and you look at each one and you know, in most cases, within 30 seconds whether you will help or not. You're not cruel about this. You're efficient. There is a difference. You tell yourself there is a difference. You have everything. At dinner last Tuesday, someone asked what you enjoy. You took a long time to answer. Not because you don't enjoy anything, because somewhere between level 2 and level 7, enjoying things became a thing you scheduled. And when something is scheduled, it changes. You think sometimes about the $214 in the savings account that never seemed to grow. You think about it more than you think about any of this. The story of money is not a story about money. It is a story about what you are afraid of, what you are trying to prove, who you are doing it for. The broke person and the billionaire share one thing. Neither of them is finished thinking about it. The only difference is the number. And the number, it turns out, does not answer the question it promised to answer. It just makes it quieter for a while.